Good afternoon, and welcome back to My Harlem Portraits, the show that aims at shedding the light on the fundamental contribution of African Americans to the building of this country and on Black excellence. To represent Black excellence today, we have a bi-coastal singer, writer, and energy activation specialist. Her name is Adora AIZA. Welcome to My Harlem Portraits, Adora.
Thank you so much for having me, Maria Grazie.
Okay, so Adora and I met in Milan because when I said bi-coastal, I meant that she goes between New York and Milan, and she performs all over Europe. So she's not the east-west, but she is from the two sides of the pond. We met in Milano and we immediately connected and realized that we are neighbors. We live two doors down from each other on the canal, on the Naviglio in Milano, e Adora parla italiano, vero?
Sì, sì, parlo italiano.
Così facciamo un po' in italiano e un po' in inglese.
Sì, sì, come quando siamo a casa a Milano.
Esatto. So Adora is now in the States because tell us why. You were trying to vote on.
Yeah, yeah, I was trying to vote and it wasn't working. I kept requesting again and again to get my absentee ballot, but it wasn't working. Then the system would crash. And I just felt like since I have the right to vote, I needed to come and just show up in person. So that's what I did and
Thank
use it
you.
as an opportunity to also, see people and come back to this lovely city.
And thank you for doing that. Unfortunately, we know the results are not what we expected, but let's not put a somber note on this beautiful day.
Yeah.
Okay. So you grew up between Orange, New Jersey, and New York City, and you began your musical journey singing in gospel choirs. And that is definitely what shaped and made your voice, which is so soulful. Tell us a little bit about your growing up.
So I grew up like any person in New Jersey, kind of hearing music. We have so many great people, Whitney Houston, Lauryn Hill. So many musical people have come out of the area where I grew up. And if you're not familiar with New Jersey, there's East Orange, Orange, West Orange, Newark. It's all of this kind of R&B, soul, hip hop that's coming in together. And growing up, it's not always easy. Like I started off transitioning from one area that was predominantly poor and very difficult, and we were struggling a lot. And then my mother wind up like getting an opportunity where she had a job working with the airline. And then I saw the transition as we went from the neighborhood where we didn't have and we lacked so much. And it was all about hip hop and rap. And then it was this big shift for me when we switched to the oranges, the West Orange, Montclair, and this other area where it was still the Black community, but it was the Black community that had advanced a little bit more economically. And all of a sudden, I started being introduced to more ballads and different diverse ways of having music. So growing up, like for me, hanging out was going to the church. It was the only place that my mother let me go by myself. So yeah, I looked forward to being able to go and listen to the choir, being able to sing in the choir, and it shaped me a lot because you just when they would sing, there's this way that the music goes dun 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 dun, dun and it builds up, and you can feel like your soul is being pulled out of you and then put back in a bit more whole than it was before it was taken out. So yeah, growing up, I just had these influences of the urban culture, then mixing into people who were more world traveled, and then it just all came together to who I am now.
Wonderful. So tell us a little bit about your musical career now, how you started it, how you started to do different concerts and so on. You told me last night that you were the one who was singing the anthem for Kobe Bryant celebration.
Yes. So Rutgers University, actually, they did this right after Kobe passed. It was detrimental for a lot of us because he was such a big figure of hope and of determination and moving forward. And what's interesting is he also lived in Italy, which is a fact that I found out. And he spoke Italian as well. So I
Mhm.
feel like a little bit like I'm living in some of that footsteps. But yeah, like one of my favorite songs to sing was always the national anthem because they always said that it was the most difficult song to sing, and you have the low part, the high note. So actually that is kind of how I started. I started more being center stage. I was singing the national anthem at the Bears Stadium, at the Prudential Center in Newark. So that's initially how I was going around as a singer. And then when I moved to Italy, it was like, okay, I'm in this new country. In New York, I worked in fashion and I had studied engineering and was doing talks. But all of a sudden, I had an opportunity to do a new life. And I was walking down the street and this guy stopped me and said, "Do you sing? We need someone to sing for this gospel choir that's coming up in Switzerland." And I was like, I mean, yeah, I went to church, of course. Like, why not? And then it just started to open up this door. And as opportunities came, I just followed that path. And before you know it, I was on stages singing to over 2,000 people my original music. And so the transition for me was going from singing what was already out there to learning how to put my own emotions in my own path so that I can help guide others.
Wonderful. And your music is really liberating and soothing. It's really amazing. I love your music. I remember the first time we met, you came to my home and you started singing, and I was like, oh my God, who's this lady? Who is this one I met now? It was really beautiful. So what's the name of what you were just recording and that song that you sang for me? That was very beautiful.
Oh, the name for the song Forgive You. Yeah,
Yeah.
so I wrote Forgive You. I was it was just a time when I realized actually the real story of the song is that I, like everyone else, was upset. I was feeling like a victim. And I had read somewhere that you forgive people and it sets you free. So originally, my idea of forgiveness was like, I hope that karma gets you. And so this song, but I'm sitting there and I kept saying, I forgive you, I forgive you. And it started to shift inside of me. And then all of a sudden, I started to become set free. And I'm like, wait a minute, it really is for me. It really is my peace. You can't eat poison and someone else get hurt. And it brought out this song. And I said, I forgive my past self. I forgive my mother. And if you listen to it, it goes through the different levels from the forgive you, I hope karma gets you, all the way to the forgive you. And I really genuinely wish you well, even though things didn't work out how I wish that they did.
That's a beautiful, beautiful thing because, as you said, when you don't forgive, that poison, that hate, that anger eats you inside, and you're doing bad things for yourself. It's really bad for you. So it's a cancer that eats you inside.
Yeah.
Forgiving, letting go is like releasing all that and becoming whole again. I believe in that. So tell me about some of the places you've been in Europe recently that really made an impression on you, and maybe some of the moments that were more difficult for you.
Well, because I get very excited about the ones that made a great impression, I'll start with the difficulties. When you move to a new country without the language, without family and friends and support, you feel completely lost. Like finally, I got to see what it was like for immigrants coming to America because I think growing up in the US, like we have these views where we don't see the outside. It's not our fault. We're just it's too far from us. When you read about things in Rome, you never expect that they actually physically exist. It's a way of actually conceptualizing certain parts of reality that you just don't get when you stay in just your country. So the hardest thing for me was number one, walking through streets that were in my history books. Number two, trying to learn a language and humble myself to say, you know what, like I need help. This was a big thing for me. And then understanding like how to blend in with different cultures. In Europe, you travel 1 hour and you're in a whole new culture, a whole new language. The food is different, like everything changes. So for me, that was difficult at first. But the more that I leaned into the language, the more that I actually joined a church, which is it was an international church. So then I started singing with them. There's a church called Hillsong, and I was singing with them, and that like gave me community again, and then brought back out that soul voice. And in terms of the great places that I've been, oh my goodness, being in Europe, everything is so close. It's like, oh, I'm going to spend the weekend in Spain, or I'm going to spend, the weekend in London. Everything is so close and tangible, and the cost is much more. You can do it. Like you're not, you just maybe skip a few meals and then you're able to travel and see completely different cultures. One of the most memorable places that I visited was Marrakesh.
Oh,
For
yes.
me, Marrakesh,
Morocco.
because I didn't realize how closed minded I was and judgmental I was until I'm standing in the middle of the old town of Marrakesh. And there's all these people of different shades that I wasn't completely familiar with because the hair, like, they look different than what I was used to seeing. And so I see like all these beautiful Moroccan people and they're rushing everywhere. There's no traffic lights, it's boom, boom. And immediately, like, I felt this tension and I felt fear of, like, oh my goodness, am I safe? And it felt dirty to me. And then I said, okay, be calm, think, what is the reality here? And I noticed everything actually was clean. There's a lot of sand and dust, but when you look, the people really care about the streets. You don't see any trash just hanging around. You see like people helping the tourists, they guide you. And then I was able to embrace this culture that is so beautiful and so kind. So yeah, I like my top would be Marrakesh, Barcelona, because I mean, no one does it like the Spaniards. and um and then I really like Istanbul because
Mm,
they have this big the Black Sea, and there's this part where you go from the Asian side to the European side. And
Bosphorus.
sometimes, yeah, in the winter time, you have the sea that's just moving and it seems like chaos. And then you have these dark clouds, but then the sky opens and there's this light coming down and all these pigeons, and it's this beautiful thing like something's reaching from above. And when I saw that, I decided one day I really would like my voice to be like that light in Istanbul, where it's kind of like looking down and pulling the energy up to help people so that they're not in that dark space.
Very beautiful what you just said. And it's amazing because those three cities you cited are my favorite cities in Europe, together with Copenhagen.
Yeah. Oh
So,
yes, Cope. Oh yes, and Amsterdam.
and Amsterdam. And I mean, Marrakesh and Morocco, the food is amazing also. So
Yeah,
we
and the
can't,
tea.
yeah, oh, minty.
Mhm.
Beautiful, wonderful. What you're saying is very interesting, also above all for an American point of view, because you are telling us how important traveling and meeting people, meeting culture shapes your thinking and your way of behaving accordingly. It opens up
Definitely
your
does.
mind. If everybody traveled and met cultures, there wouldn't be any wars because we are finding out, we will know that we are all the same. We are just people trying to get by and trying to live a normal life and trying to have happiness and tranquility and peace of mind. So you are also, now through, we go to your energy activation because you are the founder of Energy Masters, a company which is dedicated to helping people transform their lives and fulfill their purpose. Tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, so this actually came during that time when I felt completely lost. I started to read a lot of books. I started reading about manifesting. I started reading about the laws of quantum physics and how we can shape our internal energy to actually affect what is happening outside of us. But when I read books like The Secret or when I read some things about the law of attraction, it was a bit too woo woo for me because I studied engineering. So I said, okay, it seems like this is working, but how does it work on a more regular basis? And what is my part in all of this? So I just started, like, I literally have physics books on the wavelengths and how frequencies and the law of resonation and all of these this, different things. The law of resonance. I
Yeah.
said resonation, but the law of resonance. um, See, I would get excited. So I really was diving into the science of it, and people around me were being affected. We would sit down, we would speak. I would almost like I could feel like I could see what was going on inside of them. I can see the block. And these questions would just come to me of how to get them from where they are to where they're going. And I was looking for my purpose. I started going to mentors and sitting down. I said, okay, what is my superpower? And there's a woman named Felicia Hatcher, and
Mm-hmm.
she actually runs Pharrell Williams, his Black Excellence program. And I remember sitting on a call with her and a group of other people, and she said, you know, Adora, whatever your purpose is, it's something that you do no matter what you do. It's something that's a piece of all of your life, and everyone tells you that you do it well. And she had me do this video explaining what my superpower was. And I realized that activating energy and mastering energy was my superpower. So now I aim to make sure that I help people as they're going up the ladder, because I think books are better when you're starting out, but when you get to the level where you're really trying to manifest something that's very far out of your beliefs, and you're breaking the paradigm of culture, gender, and all the other things that society puts on you, then you need someone who's a catalyst like me, who comes in and says, I don't pity you. We value, appreciate, and forgive your past, and this is how we move forward. So
Mm-hmm.
that's what Energy Masters is all about. And something that's really beautiful is I've helped a bunch of people. I'm My specialty is more with men. I'm still working with women, but helping men attract their soulmates. Like a lot of entrepreneur men, this is my superpower, where they are, you know, very busy and they think that they give everything that they have to the world, and they think, oh, I'll never find my partner. They don't want just the Barbie. They want the beauty and the brains and the one that's actually helping and grow a legacy with them. And that's a specialty that I have, where I help them attract someone who builds with them.
That is a fantastic thing. And your energy thing works definitely. It worked with me because when I met you, I was in a specific moment, very vulnerable. My mom had died and I was emptying her home. And that day that we got in touch, that's when I was sitting in my mom's home, crying my eyes out because I didn't know how to go about that. And meeting you was like a breath of fresh air and a injection of energy that made me I don't know what, but I did it. I
That
did it.
is such an honor for me for you to say that because your energy recharges me so much. When I met you, I said, wow, this is a woman who embodies what she says. This is a woman who cares about people, but also has boundaries and she has drive and charisma. And you're also very feminine. So many things that I aspire to be. I look up to you because I see those things in you. So it makes me feel very good to know that you hold any type of regard in a good way towards me. So thank you.
Absolutely. We energize each other like energized bunnies.
Yeah.
We recharge each other. It's
Yeah.
so beautiful. And that's why I wanted to interview you because the message that you have to give is a very positive and very energizing message. And especially now, after this terrible, terrible thing that happened in this country, we need this kind of energy because we need to be able to overcome that and react and be propositive and be active in opposing what's going on because it's not going to be easy. It's not going to be easy. We have only maybe a minute left. So let's leave our viewers with this. You are the author of Love Resolutions. Get your heart ready for fulfilling romance, which is available on Amazon. This is the book. You should go and get this book. It is a guide, really, on how to get over heartbreak and how to open your heart back again. And what I love about it also is that at the end of each chapter, you have a space for notes. And I love that because when I read a book that is interesting, I like to write all over it. In this way, you don't have to write all over. You write in your space and it's perfect. So tell us a little bit about this book.
The book, so everything that I do ties into activating energy and setting people free. Whether it's writing a song, whether it's, activating someone's energy or with the book, people, it's a few things that we need. We need to be connected to each other, we need to have purpose, and we need to feel free. This book takes you from heartbreak and opens you up so that you're not just getting more of the same thing, but so that you're free to choose what you want, regardless of what society tells you that you should have. And it it is a part of the process that I use to help more women get ready so that they can manifest their soulmates.
Wonderful. Thank you so much for this beautiful interview. You are at the airport right now. You're going to your grandfather. So give him my best advice, even if I don't know him, because he has influenced you a lot. And I wish you safe travel, safe trip. And thank you for being with us. And thank you to our viewer. See you next Saturday, 12:30 p.m. Spectrum 1993 and all the past episodes on My Harlem Portraits, my YouTube channel. Bye bye, Adora, and thank you so much.
Thank you again. Ciao ciao. Non abbiamo parlato in italiano, ma la prossima volta.
La prossima volta facciamo l'intervista tutta in italiano.
Perfetto.
Ciao bella,
Ciao.
arrivederci. Bye bye.
Arrivederci.